You said sorry. You weren't wrong. You knew you weren't wrong, and you said it anyway. Not because you made a mistake, not because you hurt anyone, but because there was tension in the air, and something inside you decided that your peace of mind was less important than making that tension go away. And here's what nobody ever tells you. That apology didn't come from weakness. It came from something much deeper. Something that was wired into you a long time ago. This is the psychology of men who apologize even when they're right.
Let's set the scene. You're in a conversation, an argument maybe, or just a disagreement. Someone pushed back on something you said, and you know with complete clarity that you are correct. The facts are on your side. Logic is on your side. But the other person is upset. The energy in the room shifts. Their voice gets tighter or colder, or they go silent in that particular way that makes your chest tighten. And then, almost automatically, the words come out. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Sorry. You're probably right. No, forget it. It doesn't matter. And the tension dissolves. And you feel something. Relief, maybe? Or guilt? Or both at the same time. And somewhere underneath all of it, a quiet voice says, why did I do that? I was right.
This isn't a confidence problem. Let me be clear about that, because that's what most people assume. The man who apologizes when he's right is often not weak. He is often the most capable person in the room. He handles pressure well, he solves problems, he carries things without complaint. But he learned very early that conflict was dangerous. Not dangerous like physically. Dangerous like when there's friction, love disappears. When someone is upset, everything becomes unstable. When you hold your ground, you lose something. Attention, warmth, safety, approval. So the nervous system learned a strategy. Smooth it over. Take the blame. Make the tension stop. Then things will be okay. And that strategy probably worked when you were young. The problem is, you're still running it now.
Psychologists call this conflict-avoidant appeasement behavior, and it's rooted in something called the fawn response. Most people know the fight or flight response. Fewer know about fawn. Fawn is what happens when the nervous system decides that the safest way out of a threat is to please the threat, to agree, to shrink, to apologize. It's most commonly developed in childhood, particularly in households where emotional instability was common, where a parent's mood determined the safety of the room, where the child learned that the fastest way to restore peace was to take responsibility, even for things they didn't do. That child becomes an adult who apologizes when he's right, not because he's weak, because his nervous system is still trying to keep him safe from a threat that no longer exists. Here's what this pattern actually costs you. First, it builds resentment. Every time you apologize when you didn't do anything wrong, some part of you registers the injustice. You don't say it out loud. You absorb it. And over time, that resentment accumulates under the surface, toward the people you keep appeasing and toward yourself for doing it. Second, it trains other people how to treat you. When someone consistently gets what they want by creating tension, they learn unconsciously that tension works on you. You become easier to override, not because you're weak, but because your response pattern rewards the behavior. Third, and this one is quiet, you stop trusting yourself. When you spend years overriding your own correct perception of reality to make someone else comfortable, the internal signal gets noisy. You start to doubt yourself even when you're right. You start wondering if maybe they're correct. Maybe you are the problem. You're not. You just learned to believe that peace was more important than truth. The shift doesn't come from deciding to stop apologizing. That's not how this works. The shift comes from understanding what the apology is actually doing. It's not making things okay. It's making things quiet. Those are not the same thing. When you apologize for being right, you don't resolve the conflict. You bury it. The other person doesn't understand you better. They don't respect you more. The issue doesn't go away. You've just paid a tax on your own dignity to buy yourself a few hours of calm. Real resolution doesn't feel like relief. It feels like discomfort. followed by actual understanding. The men who understand this eventually stop apologizing when the room gets tense. They let the silence sit. They learn that their correctness doesn't require the other person's agreement to remain true.
If you recognized yourself in this video, I want you to sit with something. The version of you that learned to apologize to survive was intelligent. He read the room. He adapted. He kept the peace when keeping the peace was what the situation required. But you don't live in that room anymore. The people in your life now, the ones worth keeping, they don't need you to shrink. They can handle the discomfort of you being correct. In fact, the ones who can't, that tells you something important. You're allowed to be right. You're allowed to stay right, even when the room gets quiet, even when nobody says thank you for it. That's what understanding your own psychology actually gives you. Not confidence,